Good morning, my loves. Welcome back to Conscious Intuition. I have to be honest, the last 2 days I have tried to record an episode about a specific topic, and it just kind of seemed like I kept veering off the path of what I wanted to talk about. And I finally started coming to the conclusion that it was something that I'm not necessarily doing correctly in my own life at the moment. So it makes sense why I'm not really capable of speaking too much about it without veering off the path, because obviously this entire podcast is meant to be genuine. And if I'm not doing the things that I'm saying the world should do, then obviously it's not going to work out. So I have started making changes in my life that are necessary for myself. And when I do achieve those and the time is right, I will throw that episode out there for you. Unfortunately, the downfall of that has created me to be far behind on timelines, so I'm going to try to keep this episode a little short and sweet as much as I can, and at the very least be able to boost out some positivity for you guys. And then once these changes are in order, we will be back and better than ever. I feel like it's a good time to talk about the transition period when we really start kind of learning our own ways and reprogramming out of those old thoughts that we were taught for so long. And when you really do start aligning more with your soul and with your purpose and trusting your intuition, I think the scary part about it is we really start going through like this battlefield in our head between what's right and what's wrong, and kind of feeling like everything that we were ever taught was wrong or everything we've ever known was wrong. So you start leaning more into your own individual opinions about life, your own individually created ideas, characteristics. It's when you start creating that entirely new version of yourself. And that battlefield in your head is so strong because both sides just feel like screaming the entire time. And my brain has a difficult time kind of staying on one singular part of this topic because there are so many different details that go into it, like fears, insecurities, traumas, all of those normal things that created us to be who we were when we were in survival. I spent a lot of my time in survival, so it's kind of one of those things that it's super difficult to transition into not being in it anymore, because you do start losing those parts of yourself that felt right because they gave you comfort and security inside of that survival. But when you're outside of it, there's things that you have to trust and that you have to feel and that you have to do to keep moving forward. But like I said, that battlefield inside of your head is so strong because both parts of you, that old version of you and then the new version of you, are both so equally loud with each other, and it becomes exhausting. And I've definitely found myself falter backwards a couple times, which is okay. It's not necessarily wrong or impossible to fall back. It's just the fact that, the thing is, if you go backwards, you now have to relive all those experiences and those repeated cycles that you worked so hard to get out of. But we fear so much of the unknown, where when you're telling us we have to close this door to open another one, you're telling me to trust what's on the other side of that door. And outside of characteristics and programming and mechanisms that we've created, it's just a hard task to do, regardless of who you are or what you've been through. The episode that I was trying to drop was entirely about trust and belief of what you deserve, and understanding that you will be provided for as soon as you finally take that step forward for yourself, to be willing to see your dreams come true and know that you already have it, because the reason you're thinking about it and you're creating that in your mind is because you already have it. And I'll go deeper into those things another day, but 100% transparency. I took a full-time position, great opportunity. And I'm not going to lie, I'm having an absolute blast with it. I love it. The people are great. The environment is great. It's a complete 180 from what I've been in and what I've been used to. And the reason I wanted to originally bring this topic up was because I left the last place that I was working at, that I was there for 5 years. It was a super toxic environment. And I finally just hit that point where I knew I deserved better, and I wasn't allowing myself to deal with anything less anymore. So I left and I went and traveled for 2 months, and I had the time of my life, and I learned so many new things, and it put me in such an entirely different headspace. And I was really trying to base it off of that, but taking this position and being in something that gives me a little more happiness from what I want, but also understanding and knowing that this is not my end game and this is not what I want forever, I kept justifying it by telling myself that, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. You got bills to pay. If you want to live as luxurious as you have been, this is just how you stick through it. I even used the excuses that I was going to set proper boundaries. That way, this and what I'm doing and what I'm building and the thing I want to do for the rest of my life, the thing that I find so much love and passion in, that I'll always prioritize this more. And I really quickly fell back into that old pattern of security and comfortability. And I started faltering more on the things that I needed to do for this, for us. And this entire experience for me has been such a heavy start because there's so many things over so many years that I have said and given and wanted to continue to say. And that was the whole point of starting this podcast, was to be able to provide that for as many people that I could that needed to hear it. And I was finding myself focusing so much on something other than this that I wasn't giving myself the time and dedication to really sit down and feel everything and get used to it. And I know I said in the first episode, I'm super uncomfortable in front of a camera, but it's like at this point, I'm just sitting down and trying to force certain things out. And I keep getting disappointed every time that I post something because it doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel like the things that I actually want to provide for you. And that started breaking my heart every single day. And I can't make an episode telling everybody to take a leap of faith if I'm not willing to do the same thing. So we are going to make some changes. This journey and all of you are my number one priority. And although the start of all of this doesn't feel necessarily like what I've expected it to be, but it has definitely taught me how to live outside of my perfectionism. It's taught me more to show up for myself, to continue to be a woman of my word, to trust in me, and to trust in everything around me. And although I might backtrack through that sometimes, I am definitely grateful that it has been an extraordinary reminder of who I am and what I want to do and why I want to do it. And I do want to provide a more open and genuine space where you guys really can learn who I am and to provide that fun and safe space that we can hang out in instead of what I feel like I've just been stressed and trying to get it out and just move on. So this is my deal to myself that I will do better. I will make the right choices. I will no longer falter away from trust that I have frankly always had. And I know I falter back to it sometimes. And I know I've repeated that 1,000 times. But in everything that I have done and experienced in life, there is one thing that I have always trusted, and it is that I would be provided for, that I could always choose to do what I love to do and to do what aligns with my soul and do what feels right to me without having to worry about anything else, without having to worry about those bills being paid, without setting my life aside just to grind harder and harder to see what might pop up. I've always had trust that I will get there eventually, and a timeline has never been my thing. I fully believe in divine timing, and I think everything happens when it is meant to happen. And I think that those timelines are important because those middle grounds in between, like the transition that I'm in right now, builds so many opportunities for lessons and to really reflect and figure out the details and the small, minute markings of what we're meant to learn on this timeline. So I know this isn't much, and I know it's going to be a short episode, and I know I can take accountability for allowing myself to get away from me. But short message or long, this is just the beginning. And hopefully actually talking about this, maybe it'll connect in somebody else's mind to become aware, to realize maybe you're not going through a spiral right now. Maybe those two parts of yourself really are just battling each other, and it's overwhelming. It's kind of hard to just pick pieces of thoughts apart when they're all opposite and it all hits at once and it's all together. It's chaos. But during all of this is where it's most important for us to finally sit back and just feel all of it. To try to calm your mind as much as possible and not think of the outcomes, or don't be hard on yourself if you do falter or if you do fall back into old patterns. It's about going in and resetting yourself and being still for a second and being proud that you became aware of it and you caught it before you did spiral further down. To get back on track on remembering why you're doing what you're doing, to keep moving forward in what you're doing, to remove the fear of failure, remove the fear of rejection, remove the fear of instability and financial downfall. Just be still and remember that all of these things will work out. Remember that you are in control of your mind. Your mind is not in control of you. Inhale, exhale, take a deep breath, calm yourself, center yourself, go sit outside for a while, get off your phone after you listen to this, and just feel all of it. Just reset your nervous system, recenter yourself. No matter how many options you have or directions that you can go, you will make the right choice. I know it. You just have to keep believing that you deserve this. And these things don't happen overnight. It's a process. It's why we call it the journey. But please take some time for rest and recovery. Take some time to really sit with these decisions one by one and really think of what makes you feel best outside of your needs or your desires. Because when you are sitting in survival mode, some of these decisions are specifically because of that survival mode. Try to sit with the idea of the unknown. Try to nitpick outside of the worst case scenario what that best case scenario is. Pick a couple of things that you have wanted to do that you keep fighting away and create at least 2 best case scenarios for this. These don't have to be something that you can achieve in one day, and these don't even have to be anything that you achieve at all. You can do the most off the wall best case scenarios that you can imagine. You want to post on social media, but you have a fear of doing it for whatever reason. So think, if I post today, in a week, I'm going to be a millionaire. It's okay to feel like you're delusional thinking about that, but start getting those ideas and those frequencies out there and watch how many opportunities come forward because of it. Now, unfortunately, I am in a rush for the rest of my day, but be bright today. I know the transition feels so uncomfortable, but you will be comfortable again. Just try to keep moving forward as much as you possibly can. Hopefully next episode, maybe we can get a little more into the frequency levels of really aligning with the things that you desire and how to change those frequency levels to really kind of tune into the things that you deserve. But until then, I love you guys. I'm sorry today was so short, but I will see you all soon. And as always, in always, be present, be calm, and be a creature. I'll see you guys next week.